Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. May I have your attention, please? We are going to start reading test, and today we've got one full test of academic reading. And academic reading is considered to be the toughest one in IELTS. Those who are gender training IELTS, for them, good thing is that in part 3 of gender training reading, we have such type of complicated passages. And if you are academic IELTS candidate, this is the reading for you. For IELTS reading, there is a mechanism. There is a proper method. There are certain tips and tricks. So in this session, you are going to learn all those tips and tricks. How do they work? But let me tell you, the core skill for reading is your reading comprehension. What is reading comprehension? What you read, you understand. It's not that what you read, you don't understand. And then you say true, false, nahi hota. Okay, so you cannot do it. And if by chance you start doing translation method, you start translating stuff, again it's going to be very, very difficult. So for IELTS reading, you will have to develop the skill to understand English into English, number one. Number two, whatever you read, you understand that. And for that, you need extensive practice. And where to do that practice from? Cambridge IELTS books. We've got books 1 to 16, 17. They are available in the market. So you can practice from these books. In the past, I used to say read the newspapers, magazines and all that. Now I say don't read newspapers, don't read magazines. Just practice from IELTS books. They are more than enough. Okay, mainly in IELTS reading, we have two types of questions. Type A, where questions and answers are in sequence, or questions and answers are in order. And type B, where questions and answers are not in sequence, they are not in order. So how to deal with type A and how to deal with type B, we'll learn that all, okay? So pencils ready? Show me your pencils. Good, very good. That's right. Let's make a start. The Dead Sea Scrolls. Have you heard the name of Dead Sea? Dead Sea is a sea. And scroll. Does anyone know what a scroll is? Any idea? Something they write on. Exactly, something they write on. So Dead Sea Scrolls means they found some pieces of stone or any other material on which the things were written. So these scrolls were found in the Dead Sea. So now we understand the whole passage is about some scrolls. Scroll can be a piece of stone or piece of animal skin on which things are written. And some of these scrolls are related to Bible. Okay, so they're talking about Dead Sea Scrolls. Got it? So first of all, you will read the topic, and I'm explaining it will take more time. But when you guys are going to do, you are going to do it within seconds. Read the topic and then come to the questions. Questions 1 to 5. Complete the notes below. Good news. Notes completion. Questions and answers are in order. Okay, then questions 6 to 13. Another good news. True, false, not given. Questions and answers are in order. So that is why I suggest you all to manage your time in IELTS reading. Try to do reading part 1 in maximum 10 to 12 minutes. And you can do that. Because in part 1, for the most part, they give you type A questions and you can just handle them very well. Okay, now how to do it? Whenever you read the question, from the question you have to find clue word. From the question you have to find clue word, and then you will go to the passage and you will not read the passage. You will scan the passage looking for that clue word. Once you find the clue word, then you are going to read the passage. Now, by the way, how many questions do we have in section 1? How many total questions in section 1? 13. Okay, all right. 13 questions. What does it mean? It means in the passage which has around 900 words, there are only 13 sentences you have to read. How many sentences? 13 sentences. So locating those 13 sentences may take some time, but if you have good scanning, and scanning is based on clue word. You have a clue word in mind, and now you're looking for that clue word you are scanning the passage for that. So those 13 sentences you can read and find your answer. So today in this class, you are also going to focus how to reach the right part of the passage where you find the answer. Okay. Now let's start. Qumran, 1946. I'm reading the question. Questions 1 to 5. The Dead Sea Scrolls, Discovery, Qumran, 1946 and 47. Look for Qumran in the passage 1946 to 7. First paragraph, second line. What does it mean? It means answers will start coming from here. Got it? So this is the first thing you have to do. Don't just rush to it that, okay, yeah, I'll read the question, I'll go back, I'll do this, I'll do that. No, relax, calm down. You've got 1 hour, that is plenty of time if you do it systematically. And if you don't do it systematically, you are reading last paragraph and answer is in the first paragraph, then you will mess with your IELTS reading. Okay? So do it systematically in a relaxed way, you'll be fine. Okay. Now, they say first 3 Bedouin shepherds in their teens were near an opening on side of cliff. Now, question number 1. Heard a noise of breaking. One teenager threw. Now look here. One teenager threw something. Maybe he threw a stone or he threw something. One teenager threw. Now please come back. First paragraph. I'm going to read it from first line. In late 1946 or early 1947, 3 Bedouin teenagers. Now we go on to next line. You got it? I mean, this is the first point. This is the first point where there is no question. Now I'm reading second line. Near the ancient settlement of Qumran located this. Now please come to third line. Dead Sea in what is known as the West Bank. Now what is the question? One of them threw. And your imagination will help you a lot. If you imagine a teenager throwing something, you can find. One of these young shepherds. Now what does it mean? One of the teenagers tossed a rock. Now what is the word for threw? Toss. You know, we toss a coin. So one of these shepherds tossed a rock. What is the answer? Rock. Good. All right. Very good. So correct answer is rock. You know, when IELTS reading starts, you are just like this. Main Canada chali gayi, pahunch gayi, okay? Like that. And when you reach part 2, part 3, then your feelings are different and all that. No worries. Let's go on, please. Question number 2. Teenagers went into the dash and found a number of containers. Look here. Teenagers went into a place. Now let's go back. You will find the answers like magic. I'm reading after rock. Into an opening on the side of a cliff. And was surprised to hear a shattering sound. He and his companions. What does it mean? Teenagers. He and his companions later entered the cave. Entered the cave means went into the cave. So the right answer is cave or cave. Yeah. All right. And found a number of containers made of. Containers were made of something. Let's read after clay. And stumbled across a collection of large clay jars. What is the word for containers? Jars. And made of clay. Clay jars. Plastic bottle means made of plastic. So the answer is clay. Absolutely. And you know, you found 3 answers in 3 lines and you'll be like, oh gosh, I'll eat IELTS. Yeah? Fully charged. So if you start well, you go on well. Corrected? Okay, I'll tell you what to do next. All right. Now, the next thing is scrolls. And can you guys see 150 BCE and 70 CE? Now, please scan it. Got it? Second paragraph. So it means this answer is going to be there. Now we read the question. First, you will find the location. And then you will read the question. Now let's read question number 4. Date from, there is no question there. Thought to have been written by a group of people known as. Now it's the name of group of people. Group of people known as. Please come to second paragraph. And I'm reading it after 150 BCE and all that. Please come to the second line after full stop. According to the prevailing theory. Found it? ओके, अकॉर्डिंग टू, अगर आपके नेबर्स में किसी को नहीं मिला उनकी हेल्प करें. अकॉर्डिंग टू द प्रिवेलिंग थ्योरी, they are the work of a population that inhabited the area until Roman troops destroyed the settlement around 70 CE. The area was known as Judea at that time, and the people are thought to have belonged to a group called Essens. Group called Essens. And group called Essens means thought to have been written by a group of people known as. Now, known and called, they are same, and the answer is Essence. In IELTS reading, you should not have wrong spelling. If you write wrong spelling, that's because of your careless mistake, because you have to copy paste them. Okay, you will copy them and then you're going to paste them from there. Okay, let's go on. Question number 5. Written mainly in the dash language. Mainly means majority of that was written in the language. Answer is a language. Let's go on. We go on to the same paragraph. The majority of the texts on the Dead Sea Scrolls are in. And what is Hebrew? Hebrew is a language. They did not use the word language, but Hebrew is a language. In Urdu, what do we call it? Ibrani. Yeah. So answer is Hebrew. First 5 questions done. Is it all clear to everyone? Okay. Okay, guys. Now we go on with true, false, not given. And try your level best that in part 1 you should not have any mistake. At least in part 1, they should be 13 by 13. So, do the following statements agree with the information given in reading passage 1? True, false, not given. Whenever they give you options, you are likely to guess. It's natural, right? If I say answer is A or B, you will guess immediately B, because you know 50-50, right? So whenever they give us options, true, false, not given, your mind, whether you find the right place, right sentence or not, you will guess at the end. Yes, no, not given, you will guess. Multiple choice, you will guess. So once you start guessing, that is the time when you have many wrong answers. Okay, now let's see how to read the question and how to find the information. Bedouin teenagers, you know that's the word we use, Baddu, in Urdu, right? Yeah. So Bedouin teenagers who found the scrolls were disappointed. Now underline, teenagers were disappointed by how little money they received from them. Now teenagers found the scroll. They sold the scroll, got the money, and they were disappointed that only they got few coins for that. Now listen, how to check whether what should be the answer. If they were disappointed by the little money they got by selling scrolls, answer is true. If they got little money but they were happy, they were not disappointed, they were happy, then the answer is false. Or if they got lot of money for that and they were happy, answer is false. And if they don't tell us whether they were disappointed or they were happy, then the answer is not given. So there is always one thing which you have to check. If they were disappointed, answer is true. If they were happy, answer is false. And if they don't tell us, then it is not given. Now over here, again they use the word teenagers and who found the scrolls. Now scan the passage and look for something, teenagers who found the scrolls. Yes, it is first paragraph, and please come to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th last line. First paragraph, 6th last line, there is the word the teenagers. Mil gaya? 6th last line, last 2 words, the teenagers. Got it? Okay, now please follow me and please help each other. अगर किसी को ना मिले दाएं बाएं पूछ ले, मुझे नहीं मिला. The teenagers took the 7 scrolls to a nearby town where they were sold for a small sum to a local antiquities dealer. Until now, is it okay? Now we are going to check. What are we going to check? They were disappointed with the money. Let's read on. Word of the find spread, and Bedouins and archaeologists eventually unearthed tens of thousands of additional scrolls. Have they mentioned anything That by getting that money, they were disappointed or they were happy and all that. So the answer is not given. Got it? When they don't mention, it'll take time to understand these type of things, okay? So it's that. Yeah, reading just contain both jaldi sadi. Okay. Let's go on. Question number 7. There is agreement among academics. Academics means the researchers and all that. There is agreement among academics about the origin of Dead Sea Scrolls. Now look here. Clue word, origin of Dead Sea Scrolls. Just wait. Without understanding the question, don't rush to the passage. The question is, the keyword is, and by the way, this is also type A. So questions and answers are going to be in order. Now, they said here, academics about the origin of Dead Sea Scroll. If there is an agreement about the origin means where did they come from. If there is an agreement about the origin of Dead Sea Scrolls, answer is true. If there is disagreement about the origin of Dead Sea Scrolls, answer is false. And if they don't tell us whether there is agreement or there is disagreement, then the answer is not given. Now please come back, second paragraph, because questions and answers are in order. Second paragraph, we read it from first line. The origin, got the word? See, clue word, origin. The origin of Dead Sea Scrolls, which were written around 2000 years ago between 150 BC and 70 CE, is still the subject of scholarly debate even today. When something is a subject of debate, it means people don't agree. What is the word for academics? Scholarly. Okay, so they say here is still the subject of scholarly debate even today. When something is still debatable, it means people don't agree on that. So the answer is false. Very good. Got it? It's all reasonable. No? Let's move on, please. We've got question number 8. Most of the books of the Bible written on the scrolls are incomplete. Now, what do you have to check? Incomplete. Very simple. Now, if most of the books of the Bible written on the scrolls are incomplete, answer is true. If they are complete, answer is, and if they don't tell us, not given. So please come back. And we are going to go to Bible. Yeah, it's the 4th paragraph. Everyone, please come to 4th paragraph. The Dead Sea Scrolls include fragments from every book of the Old Testament of the Bible. Fragments. Now, what does it mean? Fragments means parts. And when there is some parts of it, is it complete one? No, it is incomplete. Please focus this thing again. The Dead Sea Scrolls include fragments from every book of the Old Testament of Bible except for the book of Esther. So they have the fragments. Now please come back to the question. What is the question? Most of the books of Bible written on the scrolls are incomplete. And they said most of the books, only one book where there is nothing. Otherwise, they have fragments. Fragments means incomplete parts. So the answer is true. Just underline a line in the passage, a line over here. And when you go back home, you can match them. Read it again and again so that you understand all these things. All right, let's move on. Question number 10. Question number 9. Information on the copper scroll. What's the clue word? Copper scroll. Information on the copper scroll is written in an unusual way. Now, if copper scroll is your clue word, if information is written unusual way, it's true. If it is written usual or ordinary way, then it is false. So please come back, copper scroll. Look for the word copper scroll, copper. Yes, second page, first paragraph, and let's read it from third line. Listen, make it a rule. Whenever you find the word, Don't read from the word onwards. Come back and start the sentence where there is the last full stop. Read it from there. So I'm reading it, second page, first paragraph, third line. The only exception is the scroll numbered 3Q15, which was created out of a combination of copper and tin, known as the copper scroll. This curious document features lettered, chiseled on metal, perhaps, as some have theorized, to better withstand the passage of time. Now what is it? This curious document, the word curious, focus that. This curious document features letters chiseled onto metal. Chiseled means kanda karna. Chiseled onto metal. The words were chiseled onto metal, and they use the word curious document. Now let's go back. What's the question? The information on copper scroll is written in an unusual way. What is that unusual way? Chiseled on metal. So the answer is true. Very good. Clear? Unusual way, chiseled on metal. Chiseled and all that. Question number 10. Mar Samuel. What's the clue word? Mar Samuel. Okay, Mar Samuel was given some of the scrolls as a gift. Now, if he was given some of the scrolls as a gift, it's true. If he gave scrolls as a gift to someone, then it is false. Let's go back. Mar Samuel. Yeah, sixth paragraph or second last paragraph. Some of the Dead Sea Scrolls have been on interesting journeys. In 1948, a Syrian Orthodox Archbishop known as Mar Samuel acquired 4 of the original 7 scrolls from a Jerusalem shoemaker and part-time antique dealer, paying less than $100 for them. Did he receive as a gift? No, he paid $100 for that. Now come back. What's the question? Mar Samuel was given some of the scrolls as a gift. Answer is false, because he paid $100 for them. Absolutely. Okay, question number 11. In early 1950s, look for early 1950s. What does it mean? 1951, 52, 53. Early 1950s. Found it? Same paragraph, and can you see there 1954? So 1954 means early 1950s. Now come back to the question. The question is, in the early 1950s, a number of educational establishments, underline educational establishments, that means schools, colleges, universities. A number of educational establishments in the US were keen to buy scrolls from Mar Samuel. Keen to means they were interested, very interested to buy scrolls from Mar Samuel. Now please come back. Can you see he then traveled to United States? Found it? Second last paragraph, fourth line. Sabko mil gaya? Okay. He then traveled to United States and unsuccessfully offered them to a number of universities, including Yale. Unsuccessfully. What does that mean? They were not keen to buy them. Unsuccessfully offered them to a number of universities, including Yale and all that. Now please come back to the question. In early 1950s, a number of educational establishments in the US were keen to buy. Were they keen? Unsuccessfully offered. When he unsuccessfully offered, it means they were not keen to buy. So the answer is false. So far, so good. Even if you don't understand, please mark it in the passage. When you go back home, practice again. Right? You'll be fine with it. Okay, question number 12. Scroll that was pieced together in 2017. What is the clue word? 2017. Can you see it easily? Last paragraph. Okay. Now pieced together. Do you know this thing? Pieced together means they joined it together. So let's read the question. The scroll that was pieced together in 2017 contains information about annual occasions, underline annual occasions, in Qumran area 2000 years ago. Now, annual occasions, Qumran area, 2000 years ago. Let's go back. All right, let's just see question number 12. Now, it's mentioned here, in 2017, researchers from the University of Haifa restored a deciphered one of the last untranslated scrolls. The university, Eshbal Rutson and Jonathan Ben Dove spent 1 year reassembling the 60 fragments that make up the scroll. Deciphered from a band of coded text on parchment, the find provides insight into, now please read this carefully. The find means what they found, the scroll. The find provides insight into community of people who wrote it and the 360-year-day calendar. What was that? 364-day calendar they would have used. And then the scroll names celebrations that indicate shifts in seasons and details 2 yearly religious events known from another Dead Sea Scroll. Come back. The scroll that pieced together in 2017 contains information about annual occasions. What is the word for annual occasions? Yeah, 364-day calendar. And if you go on, they talk about these celebrations, right? In Qumran area 2000 years ago. So what is the answer? True, it is true, absolutely. Read it again. If you are confused, go back. This is all about Qumran. Yeah. All right, so please read this again. Deciphered from a band of coded text, and then they say this thing. Just focus this thing. Insight into, after insight into, the community of people who wrote it and the 364-day calendar they would have used. The scroll names celebrations and that indicate shifts in seasons. Celebrations that indicate shifts in season, 364-year calendar, day calendar. So it is the information about annual occasions in Qumran area 2000 years ago. The answer is true. Okay, we've got the last question, question number 13. Academics at the University of Haifa. What's the clue word? Haifa. Academics at the University of Haifa are currently researching, underline, currently researching how to decipher the final scroll. If they are currently researching how to decipher the final scroll, let's just go on. I'm reading it from the beginning. In 2017, researchers from the University of Haifa restored and deciphered. What do they say? Restored and deciphered. And what is the question? Yeah, the question is academics at the University of Haifa are currently researching how to decipher the final scroll. Please come back to question again. Researchers from the University of Haifa restored and deciphered one of the last untranslated scroll. Okay, now they did that all in the past. Now please focus the question. It's very technical one. I know many of you are going to give me the wrong answer. Focus. Academics at the University of Haifa are currently researching. Now are currently researching how to decipher. And what is there? Researchers from the university restored and deciphered one of the last untranslated scroll. False? Okay. There is the last sentence. Only one more known scroll remains untranslated. Found it? Now just focus this and tell me what is the answer. Only one more known scroll remains untranslated. All right, now listen. They said only one scroll is untranslated, and for that they use the word final scroll. Now got my point. Try to get my point. They say here academics at the University of Haifa are currently researching how to decipher the final scroll. There is only one sentence, only one more known scroll remains untranslated. About this, they did not tell us whether they are currently researching it or not. So the answer is not given. Focus there again. The last sentence of the last paragraph. Only one more known scroll remains untranslated. Now the scroll that is untranslated, they are not telling us anything whether they are currently researching to decipher it or not. So that is why it is not given. Okay. Okay guys, now let's go on. After successful completion of reading passage 1, now we move on to passage 2. Yeah, अभी ये पता है क्या होगा? अभी थोड़ी देर बाद आप आंखों में ये देख के रो रहे होंगे. हाँ, पता नहीं क्या हो गया. Be active and alert. Give me a big smile. Everyone, give me a big smile. हाँ, उनको पता ही नहीं क्या हो रहा है. Hello, मुंह में पेंसिल नहीं डालते. Exactly. All right, let's go on. Yeah, chips खाएं, इसके ऊपर मसाला डालें ज़रा थोड़ा पता चले कि we are doing reading. Okay, second attempt at domesticating the tomato. Domesticating the tomato. Now, you know, some vegetables, they grow in wild. Some vegetables grow in the jungle, in the forest, right? So what are they doing? They are domesticating one thing. Second, for example, if one vegetable is not suitable for one area, they are trying to domesticate that for that very area. So a second attempt at domesticating the tomato. Tomato, you know, yeah, exactly. So let's start. You can see passages labeled A, B, C, D, E. In part 2 and part 3, passages are labeled. And whenever they label, it means two type of questions. Number 1, list of headings. Number 2, which paragraph contains the following information, and both are type B questions. They are not type A. Now please come to questions 14 to 18. Which section contains the following information? Type A or type B? Type B. So we will not start with it. If you want to mess with your IELTS reading, then start from here. And then in 1 hour you will do this only. Okay? So don't try to touch it now. Questions 19 to 23. This is what we call matching. Okay, we've got the names, list of researchers, and we have to match them. Now, this is actually the questions and the passage, they are not in order. But the list of researchers and the passage, they are in order. So this is also type A. Got it? Questions and the passage, question number 19 to 23. Questions and the passage, they are not in order, but the list of people like George Kudla, Keksika Gao, Joyce and Jonathan, these names and the passage, they are in order. And then we have 3 questions, 24 to 26, and that is one word only. So from where should we start? 24 to 26, exactly. And then 19 to 23, and finally 14 to 18. Please come to question number 24. Complete the sentences below. Choose one word only from the passage for each answer. Now, question number 24. An undesirable trait such as loss of dash may be caused by mutation in a tomato gene. Mutation and tomato gene, that is your clue word. Mutation and tomato gene. Go back, look for mutation, tomato gene, and loss of something. Mutation, tomato gene, Okay, very good. You reached there. Paragraph B, section B actually. Section B and second paragraph. Now let's read it from here. And what is the word? Loss of. Okay. Now please look for the word lost or lose. Lost or lose. They said an undesirable trait such as loss of dash may be caused by mutation in a tomato genes. So let's read it from here. Section B, second paragraph. But every time a single plant with a mutation, see that the clue word mutation is here. Mutation is taken from a larger population for breeding, much genetic diversity is lost. And sometimes the desirable mutations come with less desirable traits. For instance, the tomato strains grow for supermarkets have lost much of their flavor. Have lost much of their flavor means loss of flavor, right? Undesirable traits such as loss of flavor may be caused by mutation in a tomato gene. So the answer is Flavor. And you can write flavor in British English or you can write in American English, but I advise you to copy it from there. They have written British English. Flavor. So you write it as it is. Question number 25. By modifying one gene in a tomato plant, researchers made the tomato 3 times its original dash. Now the clue word is 3 times and researchers. 3 times, and for 3 times they use the word tripled. Yes, paragraph C. So, everyone please come to paragraph C. Kudla's team made 6 changes altogether. For example, they tripled the size of fruit. Fruit means tomato. They tripled the size of fruit. So, what is the question? Researchers. For researchers, they use the word they. Researchers made the tomato 3 times its original size. And for 3 times its original size, they use the word they tripled the size of fruit. Got it? So, the answer is size. And tripled is for 3 times. And for researchers, they use the word they. All good? All right, let's go on. Question number 26, please. Thank you. Thank you. Jazakallah. Good. Question number 26. A type of tomato which was not badly affected by dash. Now underline not badly affected by dash. And was rich in vitamin C. What's the clue word? Vitamin C. Please look for vitamin C. Wow, see third paragraph. See that? It's fun. Now let's see. Now the question is what? Question is type of tomato which was not affected by something. So please come, I'm reading this C third paragraph. Section C third paragraph. Sabko mil gaya? Okay. The team in China redomesticated several strains of wild tomatoes with desirable traits lost in domesticated tomatoes. In this way, they managed to create a strain resistant to common disease called bacteria sport race. Now what is that? That's the name of disease. Read on. Which can devastate yields. They also created another strain that is more salt tolerant and has higher levels of vitamin C. Now listen, underline the word salt tolerant and come back to the question. For salt tolerant, they have written not badly affected by salt. When something is salt tolerant, it means this thing is not badly affected by salt. One of my friends, he is wife tolerant. What does it mean, wife tolerant? Wife tolerant means not badly affected by. Yeah. All right, fair kinde. Butta galan karda. Is it clear? See that? So you got to do it like this, then it's going to be fun. Otherwise, sometimes आपका दिल चाहेगा मैं अपने बाल नोच लूं. कि किस हिसाब में मैं फंस गया हूं. But you got to do it systematically, okay? Thank you. Okay, guys. Now we move on and we are going to see how to do matching, where they give you list of researchers, list of scientists, and all that. Remember one thing, we have questions 19 to 23. Now these questions and the passage, they are not in order. But still, matching is type A questions. Type A question type, okay? So why? Because list of researchers and the list is in order. Now I want you all to find George Kudla in the passage. Go back to passage and find George Kudla. George Kudla you find in A. Okay, wherever you find George Kudla, underline it please. Wherever you find George Kudla, underline it please. George Kudla. Wherever you find, just underline that. George Kudla. In paragraph A and then second last paragraph and then in last paragraph also. Okay? Now after that, please underline Keixia Gao. Keixia Gao. Keixia Gao. Underline that. Yeah, E last paragraph. Section E last paragraph. Now please underline Joyce Van Eyck. Joyce Van Eyck. Joyce Van Eyck. Absolutely. D. And we've got Joyce Van Eyck there. Got it? And then please now underline Jonathan Johns. Jonathan Johns. Good. Paragraph E. Got it? Now these are the locations where you are going to find the answers. Is this clear? Okay. Now, how to do this question type? First of all, you guys are going to go to George Kudla. Right? And listen, please. One important thing I forgot to tell you. You have to find the statements of these people. If they mention the name of the person without statement, don't read it there. And most of the time, statements will come in inverted commas. Right? You're going to find, for example, sometimes inverted commas, otherwise they say, Kudla says, Kudla says, Kudla informs, Kudla tells. Something like that. So inverted commas or otherwise they use that word. Now we've got this first one, George Kudla. Okay. Where else you find George Kudla? In paragraph C, Kudla's team made. Now do we have his statement? In paragraph C, we don't have his statement. Paragraph A. Okay. Which paragraph of A? Okay, second last, again they say, okay, this could transform what we eat, says George Kudla. Now please focus here. This could transform what we eat, says George Kudla at the University of Münster in Germany, a member of the Brazilian team. Now his next statement. See, sometimes they give half statement, then they introduce the person, then they give the second half of the statement. There are 50,000 edible plants in the world. Focus. How many? 50. Edible means suitable for eating. There are 50,000 edible plants in the world, but 90% of our energy comes from just 15% crops. Now please come to the options. 90,000 edible plants and 90% of our energy comes from just 15 crops. Like 19% energy of our body comes from 15 crops. So please come back. Question number 19. Domestication of certain plants could allow them to adapt the future environmental challenges? No, but underline future environmental challenges. Question number 20. Idea of growing and eating unusual plants may not be acceptable on a large scale. Underline eating unusual plants. Question number 21. It is not advisable for the future direction of certain research to be made public. So, future direction of research to be made public, he says it is not advisable. Means it means that in future they should not tell the direction of research to the people. Question number 22. Present efforts to domesticate one wild fruit are limited by the costs involved. Underline costs. For that they will use the word money, finances, budget and all that. Question number 23. Humans only make use of a small proportion of the plant food available on earth. Now what is the word for small proportion? Absolutely. Absolutely. And what is the word for plant food available on earth? No, plant food available for earth, they use the word 50,000 edible plants in the world, but 90% of our energy comes from just 15 crops. So, question number 23, humans only make use of a small proportion of the plant food available on earth. Got it? Now, why small proportion? Because 50,000 plants. And आपको 50 से ज़्यादा सब्जियों के नाम नहीं आते होंगे. Okay? Yeah. So question number 23, answer is A will be the right answer. Now do one thing. Cross number 23. Because it is done. So that you don't read it again. Okay? Now let's move on. After this, find Kaiksia Gao. Kaiksia Gao. Kaiksia Gao. Okay, now let's see if we have his statement over here. Kaiksia Gao. Okay, there are two locations. One location is here. And where is the second location? Paragraph E, second last paragraph. Okay, let's read here. We can now mimic the known domestication. I'm reading paragraph A, last paragraph. We can now mimic the known domestication course of major crops like rice, maize, sorghum, or others, says Kaixia Gao of the Chinese Academy of Sciences in Beijing. Then we might try to domesticate plants that have never been domesticated. So underline, we might try to domesticate plants that have never been domesticated. This is one idea. Now please come to paragraph E. Paragraph E, second paragraph. Section E, second paragraph. The three teams already have their eye on other plants that could be catapulted into the mainstream, including foxtail, oatgrass, and cowpea. By chopping wild plants that are drought or heat tolerant, says Gao. Now listen, by choosing wild plants that are drought or heat tolerant, focus this thing, drought or heat tolerant, says Gao, we could create crops that will thrive even as the planet warms. Means, regardless of global warming, these plants will survive. Now focus this sentence and come back. Question number 19. Domestication of certain plants could allow them to adapt to future environmental challenges. And what is the future environmental challenge? Drought. No, they use the word global warming, and they use this word, we could create crops that will thrive even as the planet warms. Even as the planet warms means the future environmental challenges. So for question number 19, domestication of certain plants could allow them to adapt to future environmental challenges. And future environmental challenge is global warming, and they use the word for that. Now please cross number 19 also. And what is the answer for 19? B. Now we go on. We've got option C, and that is Joyce Van Eyck. Option C, Joyce Van Eyck. Found it? Where? D. Now in D we've got Joyce Van Eyck, and again we are going to focus inverted commas. So do we find inverted commas in first paragraph of section D? No. Yeah. Please come to all right. Please come to fourth last line. Fourth last line, last two words of paragraph section D. Listen, section D, second paragraph, fourth last line. Mil gaya sabko? Okay. There is a potential. Got it? There is a potential, because this is in inverted commas, there is a potential for this to be a commercial crop, says Van Eyck, but she adds that taking the work further would be expensive because of the need to pay for a license for the CRISPR. Talking about money. It'll cost a lot. It's going to be expensive. Pay for license and this and that. So, question number 22. Present efforts to domesticate one wild fruit are limited by the costs involved. Now, what is the word for costs involved? They use the word pay, then they use the word expensive, so that shows about cost. So for question number 22, answer is C. And cross 22 also. You know why are we crossing? So that you don't read them again. You don't read them time and again. Now what are we left with? Question number 20 and 21. And how many scientists are left? Now what does it mean? It means we got to use one name two times. Right? Sometimes 4 scientists, 4 statements. Sometimes 4 scientists, 6 statements. In that case, you will use that name second time as well. Now, who is the last one? Jonathan Johns. Please come to Jonathan Johns. E paragraph. Okay, please follow me. Section E, first paragraph. This approach could boost the use of many obscure plants, says Jonathan Johns of the Sainsbury Lab in the UK. But it will be hard for new foods to grow so popular with farmers. What does he say? It will be hard, to grow, for new foods to grow so popular with farmers and consumers. If we give you a vegetable you've never eaten, So you would not be willing to eat that, okay? Farmers and consumers, that they become new staple crops, he thinks. So what does he think? Yeah, let's come back. The idea of growing and eating unusual plants, for that he used the word new crops, new vegetables and all that, may not be accepted on large scale, may not be accepted by farmers and consumers. Yes, may not be accepted on a large scale. So question number 20, answer is D. Read it again, please. Read it again, paragraph E. But it will be hard for new foods. And for new foods, what is the word over there? Unusual plants, exactly. New food and unusual plants. And again, I'm telling you, you might bring with your reading class whenever we have, or even listening class, you can bring highlighter. In actual exam, highlighters are not allowed, strictly prohibited. Okay, but in this class you can bring a highlighter. At least you can highlight this is the question, this is this, and write question number, so that when you go back home, because there is always one sentence to answer one question. So if you underline that sentence and you write question number over there, at home you can practice with that. Now what are we left with? Question number 21. Now what is the question? Now when you are left with one question, read the question. It is not advisable for the future direction of certain research to be made public. Means don't tell people what they are researching into. Right? Now let's go back. Paragraph E. Okay. Can you see they have mentioned any other name? Gao they have mentioned. All right, please come to paragraph, section E, last paragraph. Section E, last paragraph. What do they say here? But Kudla didn't want to reveal which species were in his team's sites because CRISPR has made the process so easy. Anyone with the right skills could go to their lab and do this. So Kudla didn't want to reveal. Didn't want to reveal what? Come back. It is not advisable for the future direction of certain research to be made public. What is the word not to be made public? Reveal. Yes, Kudla didn't want to reveal which species were in his team's sites because CRISP has made the process so easy. Anyone with the right skills could go to their lab and do it. So for question number 21, correct answer is A. Now, please check your answers. 19, answer is B. B for boy. 20, D for doctor. 21, A for apple. 22, C for cat. And 23, A for apple. So they repeated that. Thank you. चलें जी, start करते हैं. हो गया? Okay, good हो गया. बदले ना लिया करो बिस्किट ले जाए तो. Okay, now we have which paragraph contains the following information. This question type is solely based on scanning. But now you'll be more comfortable. You know why? Because you're already familiar with the passage. So once you're familiar with the passage, you will find it easier. Let's see how to do it. Question number 14. A reference to a type of tomato that can resist a dangerous infection. Now, a paragraph where we read about it, a reference to a type of tomato that can resist a dangerous infection. Okay? Paragraph C. Please come to paragraph C. Reference to dangerous type of tomato, like a type of tomato that can resist a dangerous infection. Paragraph C, fourth paragraph. Got it? Yeah. This is where we found the answer of question number 26, if you remember. I'm reading it. Section C, third paragraph. The team in China redomesticated several strains of wild tomatoes with desirable traits lost in domesticated tomatoes. In this way, they managed to create a strain resistant to a common disease called bacteria spot race. So resistant to a common disease. What is the question? A reference to a type of tomato that can resist a dangerous infection. What is the word for dangerous infection? Yeah, the name of the disease. What is that? Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, called bacteria spot race. Got it? Okay, good. See that? Now you are more confident. Question number 15. An explanation of how problems can arise from focusing only on a certain type of tomato plant. Start from section A, B, C. Go on from A, B, C. Explanation of how problems can arise from focusing on a certain type of tomato plant. They will use the name of that type, certain type of tomato plant. Certain type of tomato plant. And by the way, you've read it already. How the problem started. Mutation. Absolutely. Section B, second paragraph. And the type of tomatoes they mentioned is wild tomatoes. Got it? I mean, come back to the question, please, if you don't understand. Question number, an explanation of how problems can arise from focusing on a certain type of tomato. What is the word for certain type of tomato? Yeah, wild tomato. Okay. Now let's just read this thing together. I'm reading section B, second paragraph. But every time a single plant with a mutation is taken from a larger population for breeding, much genetic diversity is lost. What is the problem? Much genetic diversity is lost. Okay. And then they talked about flavor as well. Lost much of their flavor. When tomato is losing its flavor, what does it mean? It's a problem. Okay, come back to the question. An explanation of how problems can arise. Got it? Pehla problem kya tha? Yeah, genetic diversity. Second problem, loss of flavor. So these are the problems, and for question number 15, correct answer is B, section B. Okay, question number 16. A number of examples of plants that are not cultivated at present but could be useful as food sources. Look for the names of plants. A number of examples of plants. Number of examples means 4 or 5 examples. Right? Number of examples of plants that are not cultivated at present but could be useful as food source. Look around. Okay, go to paragraph C, D, E. C, D, E. C for cat, D for duck, E for elephant. Number of examples. No. Absolutely. Please come to section E. Everyone, section E, second paragraph. The 3 teams already have their eye on other plants that could be catapulted into the mainstream. Got it? And what are those plants? Including foxtail, oatgrass, and cowpea. Foxtail, oatgrass, and cowpea. So what is the word for foxtail, oatgrass, and cowpea? A number of examples of plants that are not cultivated at present but could be useful as food sources. Okay, read again. The 3 teams already have their eye on other plants that could be catapulted into the mainstream. Catapulted means they can add it into the mainstream. And mainstream of plants are the plants that we eat. Okay? Got it? It's all clear? Right? So listen. Whenever they use the word number of, look for commas. Like A, comma, B, comma, C, and D. Commas and. Look for commas and look for and you will find your answer. Question number 17. Comparison between early domestication of tomato and more recent research. Yeah. Early domestication and more recent research. Paragraph A, section A, first paragraph. It took at least 3,000 years for human to learn how to domesticate the wild tomato and cultivate it for food. Now, 2 separate teams. Now means present. And 3,000 years, that is related to past. Okay? So, what's the question? The question is a comparison between the early domestication. For early domestication, what is the word? 3,000 years ago. And more recent research. And what is the word for more recent research? Now. Right? Question number 17, answer is A. Question number 18. Okay, a personal reaction. Listen, whenever there is a personal reaction, it can be somewhere like, oh my God, or wow, that's amazing. Personal reaction. Personal reaction is sometimes based on feelings. So, a personal reaction to the flavor of a tomato that has been genetically edited. Huh? And what is that personal reaction? They are quite tasty. Now, what is this? For example, you have some biscuits and you say, wow, they are quite delicious. So, paragraph C, section C, there is only one line. Can you see that line? They are quite tasty, says Kudla. A little bit strong and very aromatic. A little bit strong and very aromatic. Now, tasty, strong, aromatic. This is his personal reaction. So, for question number 18, correct answer is C. All right. Thank you. Okay, guys. Now, we've got section 3. नसीब वाले लोग होंगे जो यहाँ तक पहुँचेंगे, वरना सेक्शन 2 पे ही जो है ना बस हो जाती है. बस का मुराद है टाइम खत्म हो जाता है at times, right? But we got section 3. Insight or evolution. Two scientists consider the origins of discoveries and other innovative behavior. Two scientists consider what? Origins of discoveries and other innovative behavior. Insight or evolution. This is the title. Okay, let's see. Now we go to questions. 27 to 31. Multiple choice questions. Type A or type B? Very good. Who said B? Wrong. Type A. Multiple choice questions are टाइप ए क्वेश्चन. ये तुक्का लगाया ना कि सारे ए कह रहे हैं, मैं बी क्यों ना कहूँ. ठीक है, फिर सारे मुझे देखेंगे, मुस्कुराएंगे, फिर मैं पोज बनाऊंगा एंड ऑल दैट. ओके, मल्टीपल चॉइस इज टाइप ए. क्वेश्चंस 32 to 36. Yes, no, not given. Type A or type B? Absolutely type A. And last questions 37 to 40. Complete the summary below. A. So you are lucky. This test is not difficult. You know, test becomes difficult if there are more type B questions. If more type A questions, test is easy. So now it depends on you. You can start from anywhere, right? There's no problem. If you want to start from true, false, not, yes, no, not given, start from there. But what we do, we start from multiple choice questions. Okay. Now listen, how to deal with multiple choice questions. Question number 27. The purpose of the first paragraph is to, and you will not read the options. You will not read the options. The purpose of the first paragraph is to. Now look here. There is one type of reading. We call it skimming. What is skimming? To read quickly, to get to the gist of something, to get to the main idea of something, right? The purpose of the first paragraph is. Now, please come to first paragraph. Okay, I'm reading it from the beginning. Scientific discovery is popularly believed to result from the sheer genius of such intellectual stars as naturalist Charles Darwin and theoretical physicist Albert Einstein. What is the statement? Scientific discovery is popularly believed. Now listen. Whenever they use the word scientific discovery and they use the word popularly believed, whenever they say believed, it is taken, it is considered. Whenever they use the word believed, considered, it means they are talking about an assumption. What are they talking about? Assumption means something is assumed in such a way. So scientific discovery is popularly believed. Or if they say scientific discovery is popularly considered. Right? Considered, believed, and that is an assumption. And what is the assumption? To result from sheer genius of such intellectual stars as naturalist Charles Darwin and theoretical physicist Albert Einstein. Now let's come back. This is what they say, and we got the main point. If you read on, let's read on. Our view of such unique contributions to science often disregards the person's prior experience and all that. Please come back. Main idea is that. Option A. Now, the purpose of the first paragraph is A. Defend particular ideas. No. In multiple choice, elimination is the best way. Elimination means no. Option B, compare certain beliefs. They talked about one belief, right? So compare certain beliefs. No, because it's plural and there they had one single belief. So it's not that. C, disapprove a widely held view. They gave us that view, but disapprove, they didn't mention. They did not disapprove that view. Option D, outline a common assumption. And what is that common assumption? Scientific discovery is popularly believed to result from the sheer genius and all that. So the correct answer for question number 27 is D. D for doctor. What are the writers doing in the second paragraph? Yeah, गुस्सा आता है ना reading करते करते. What are the writers doing? How many writers? 2. What are the writers doing in second paragraph? Please come to second paragraph. Very short paragraph. There may be some limited truth to this view. View means opinion. And when they say there may be some limited truth to this view, means they are trying to tell one opinion is wrong. What are they doing? Try to understand. Come on, be active. IELTS किस्मत नसीब की बात है. हिम्मत से पकड़ो थोड़ी जी. आप लोगों ने बिल्कुल हेलो मेरी जान दीजिए जुत्ती. ओके कम ऑन, हिम्मत ना छोड़े एंड तक, चलते रहे, कोई बात नहीं. ये मेरा ना शादी दे काटते नहीं लिखवाया, हेलो मेरी जान दीजिए जुत्ती. ओके, नॉट लाइक दिस. There may be some limited truth to this view. However, we believe. Now, what do they mean by we? Scientists. And who are the scientists? Whoever written this thing. 2 scientists considered. So, however, we believe that it largely misrepresents the real nature of scientific discovery. We believe it largely misrepresents the real nature of science discovery as well that. Now, please just focus. This may be some limited truth and we believe that it largely misrepresents. Come back. What are the writers doing in the second paragraph? A, criticizing an opinion. All right, let's read B. Let's read B. Justifying a standpoint. Not at all. They are not justifying it, right? Option C, explaining an approach. No. Option D, supporting an argument. They are not supporting, right? So it's A, criticizing an opinion. Question number 28, A is the answer. Come back. How are they criticizing the opinion? There may be some limited truth to this view. Limited truth to this view means they are criticizing an opinion. View means opinion. Okay, from here we understand that easily. Question number 29. Wow, location they are telling us easily in the third paragraph. In the third paragraph, what do the writers suggest about Darwin and Einstein? In the third paragraph, the writer suggests something about them. Okay? Setting aside such greats as Darwin and Einstein. Look here, setting aside. Setting aside means let's not talk about them. उनको छोड़ के. Setting aside, right? कि उसकी शादी भी हुई है, वो खुश भी रहता है, उसको छोड़ के बाकी लोग जो परेशान रहते हैं. Setting aside such greats as Darwin and Einstein, whose monumental contributions are duly celebrated, we suggest that innovation is more a process of trial and error. So, उन दो को निकाल के बाकी कह रहे हैं आपकी जो innovation है, that is the process of trial and error. Please come back. In the third paragraph, what do the writers suggest about Darwin and Einstein? Option A, they represent an exception to a general rule. All right. Option B, their way of working has been misunderstood. Not at all. Option C, they are an ideal which others should aspire to. Others should aspire to. No. Option D, their achievements deserve greater recognition. No. Option A, they represent an exception to a general rule. Now, please focus. They represent an exception to a general rule. Please come back. Setting aside such greats as Darwin and Einstein, whose monumental contributions are duly celebrated, we suggest that innovation is more a process of trial and error. Now, what is general rule? General rule is innovation is more a process of trial and error, and setting aside two great people, Darwin and Einstein. So please come back. In third paragraph, what does the writer suggest? They represent, they means Darwin and Einstein represent an exception to a general rule. And for exception to a general rule, they use the word setting aside. Yeah. Question number 30. तेरा ध्यान किधर है? Yeah. Question number 30. John Nicholson is an example of a person whose idea, हम लोग सोच रहे हैं रीडिंग के दौरान ना यहाँ पे टॉम एंड जेरी लगा दिया करें, जिसको यहाँ नहीं समझ आ रही वो सामने देखने लग जाए ना, वो समझ आ जाएगी. John Nicholson is an example of a person whose idea. Now whose idea? John Nicholson's idea. Now let's go back, look for John Nicholson. Fourth paragraph. Very good. Okay, I'm reading this fourth paragraph and yeah, Nicholson, we've got it here in the beginning. Okay, now let's see. I'm going back to the question. John Nicholson is an example of a person whose idea. Let's go for his idea. John Nicholson, mathematician, mathematical physicist. Okay, please come to fourth line. Fourth line, these successes are all, found it? Okay, let's read from here. These successes are all the more noteworthy given the fact that Nicholson was wrong about the presence of proto-elements. Now let's read from here carefully. Nicholson was wrong about the presence of proto-elements. They do not actually exist. Yet, amid his often fanciful theories and wild speculation, Nicholson also proposed a novel theory about the structure of atoms. Niels Bohr, the Nobel Prize winning father of modern atomic theory, jumped off from this interesting idea. This interesting idea means the idea of Nicholson. Please read again. Let's read again, third last line. Nicholson also proposed a novel theory about the structure of atoms. Niels Bohr, the Nobel Prize winning father of modern atomic theory, jumped off from this interesting idea to conceive his now famous model of the atom. So, like, you know, they're talking about Nicholson. Nicholson was wrong in one way. Then he talked about something else, and another scientist, he picked up that thing, and from there, he jumped off to another idea and he became successful. Now, let's see. John Nicholson is an example of a person whose idea, A, established his reputation as an influential scientist. No, his idea was wrong. Got it? His idea of prototype and all that was wrong. B, was only fully understood at a later point in history. No, because his idea proved wrong. Option C, laid the foundations for someone else's breakthrough. Yes, laid the foundation and he jumped off from there. Jumped off from there, उसी idea को पकड़ के उसने अगली चीज को discover कर लिया. Laid the foundations for someone else's breakthrough. Option D, initially met with skepticism from the scientific community. No. So for question number 30, answer is C. You know, you're doing academic reading. And part 3. Yeah, अभी मुश्किल नहीं आएगी तो कब आएगी? Question number 31. What is the key point of interest about AC/DC? What's the clue word? AC/DC or DC, whatever. Don't worry about how you pronounce the words in reading because you are reading it to yourself. किसी को तो पढ़ के सुना नहीं रहे, okay? What is the key point of interest about AC/DC? Stirrup placement. Stirrup placement. Okay. Yeah. Second page and we've got here AC/DC. Okay, it starts from line number 2. Good. Now, let me see what the question is. What is the key point of interest? Key point of interest. The so-called AC/DC stirrup placement in which the rider's foot in his left stirrup is placed as much as 25 centimeters lower. All right, all right, all right. Listen, I explain. ACDC is something when the horse riders, they ride the horse, their one leg is lower and one is higher. Right? When they're not equal. Okay, so it's that. Let's see. The so-called ACDC stirrup placement in which the rider's foot in his left stirrup is placed as much as 25 centimeters lower than the right is believed to confer upon important speed advantages when turning on overall tracks. It was developed. What do they mean by it? ACDC, yeah, ACDC or DC, whatever. It was developed by a relatively unknown jockey. Who is jockey? A person who rides the horse in the horse race. We call him jockey, right? A relatively unknown jockey named Jackie had Westrope conducted methodical investigation or examined extensive film records in a shrewd plan to outrun his rivals. Okay, had he foreseen the speed advantage that would be conferred by riding ACDC? No. Now, how did he come up? You know this, because of ACDC the horse runs fast. But did he know this advantage? They said no, he didn't know by doing this horse will run faster. No. Now let's see, what is that? He suffered a leg injury. What happened? He suffered a leg injury which left him unable to fully bend his left knee. He was unable to bend his left knee, so he just did it like this, and later on they realized isse ghoda tez bhagta hai. So how did this happen? His modification just happened to coincide with enhanced left hand turning performance. Now please come back. What is the key point of interest? What is the key point of interest? It was coincidental. He had pain in his one leg. He was unable to bend that. उसने एक साइड को छोटा कर दिया, एक साइड को नीचे तक कर दिया. Option A, simple reason why it was invented. Option B, enthusiasm with which it was adopted. C, research that went into its development. Was there any research? No. Option D, cleverness of the person who first used it. तुसी ते रह नहीं दियो. The correct answer is option A, simple reason why it was invented. And what was the reason? He had this pain in his leg and he was unable to bend that, so that is the reason. And what is the key point of interest? So key point of interest is it was invented coincidentally. All right. Now, please come to yes, no, not given. Yes, no, not given and true, false, not given. They have only one difference. In true, false, not given, we have to check factual information. Whereas in yes, no, not given, we check writer's claims or writer's views. Please come to questions. Questions 32 to 36. Do the following statements agree with the claims of the writer? Underline that. Claims of the writer. So in yes, no, not given, claims of the writer. And very common mistake in yes, no, not given is students write true, false for yes, no. If you write true for yes, false for no, your answer is absolutely 100% wrong. Is this clear? So please make sure for true you write true, for false you write false, and if it is yes, no, make sure you write yes and no. Yes, you can write capital Y for yes, capital N for no, capital NG for not given, but they will not compromise that for yes, no, you use true, false. Okay, be careful with that. Is it type A or B? Type A. Questions and answers are in order. Question number 32. Acknowledging people such as Plato or Da Vinci. Now, clue words we have here, Plato and Da Vinci. But first read the question. Let's read the question. Acknowledging people such as Plato or Da Vinci as geniuses will help us understand. Will help us. Which tense is it? Future. Will help us understand the process by which great minds create new ideas. So if we acknowledge people such as Plato and Da Vinci as geniuses, we acknowledge them. Acknowledge means we accept that Plato was a great genius, right? Will help us understand the process by which great minds create new ideas. Let's go back, look for Plato and Da Vinci. Okay, do we have in third paragraph? Second page, third paragraph. Very good. Now please come here, everyone. I'm reading it from the beginning because this is a short paragraph so we can read it easily. Third last paragraph. Third last paragraph on second page. The notions of insight, creativity, and genius are often invoked, but they remain vague and of doubtful scientific utility, especially when one considers the diverse and enduring contributions of individuals such as Plato, Leonardo da Vinci, Shakespeare, Beethoven, Galileo, Newton, Kepler, Curie, Pasteur, it's Marie Curie, okay, Curie, Pasteur, and Edison. These notions, focus this thing, these notions merely label rather than explain the evolution of human innovation. We need another approach, and there is a promising candidate. So, acknowledging people such as Plato or Da Vinci as geniuses will help us understand the process. Now, what does he say? We need another approach, and there is a promising candidate. So, no, just a second. All right. Okay, so focus this thing. These notions means the people we term as great people. These notions merely label rather than explain. Now, you cannot define the genius of Shakespeare, right? You cannot explain the genius of Leonardo da Vinci, Plato, and all that. They say these notions merely label. Now we label Shakespeare as a genius. We label Plato as a genius. So these notions merely label rather than explain the evolution of human. They do not explain. We need another approach, and there is a promising candidate. So acknowledging people such as Plato or Da Vinci as geniuses will help us understand the process by which. No, listen now carefully. He used the word that is only the label. It does not explain. Now the word explain comes towards the process. So acknowledging people such as Plato or Da Vinci as geniuses will help us understand the process. The process has not been given. They have only given us the label. Try to understand. How did Shakespeare become a genius? We don't know the process. We only label Shakespeare as a genius person. So underneath the process by which great minds create new ideas, process has not been mentioned. Only they have been labeled. That's why the answer is no. False nahi hota. No. Okay, let's go on. Question number 33. Law of effect was discovered at a time. Now just underline at a time. Law of effect was discovered at a time when psychologists were seeking a scientific reason why creativity occurs. Now at a time means at the same time. Now listen carefully. Law of effect was discovered at the same time when psychologists were seeking a scientific reason why creativity occurs. So please let's go back. Law of effect. Very next paragraph. The law of effect. Now let's see if it occurred at the same time. That's what you got to check. So everyone, third last paragraph. The law of effect was advanced by psychologist Edward Thorndike in 1898, some 40 years after Charles Darwin published his groundbreaking work on biological evolution, on the origin of species. Okay. This simple law holds that organisms tend to repeat successful behavior and to refrain from performing unsuccessful ones. Now let's come back to the question, please. Law of effect was discovered at a time when psychologists were seeking. Have they mentioned anything? No. So the answer is not given. They didn't mention anything about the scientists were doing something and then they discovered it and all that. Okay, question number 34. Law of effect states that, now underline this thing, no planning is involved in the behavior of organisms. No planning is involved. Most important thing. Law of effect states that no planning is involved. Let's come back. Same paragraph, we read on. All right. I'm reading the last two lines. Just like Darwin. Found it? It's the third last paragraph, second last line. Just like Darwin, law of nature, natural selection. Just a second. Law of effect states no planning is involved. Okay. Yeah, it's the third line. This simple law holds that organisms tend to repeat successful behaviors and to refrain from performing unsuccessful ones. Just like Darwin's law of nature selection, the law of effect involves an entirely mechanical process of variation and selection without any end objective in sight. So law of nature, law of effect involves an entirely mechanical process. What does it involve? Entirely mechanical process. Come back to the question. Yeah, no planning is involved. How come? What do they say here? Entirely mechanical process. When there is the mechanical process, it involves planning. Okay, please focus this thing. Without any end objective in sight. Without any end objective in sight. When you don't have any end objective in sight, it means no planning is involved. Okay, just try to do one thing. No planning is involved, right? And come back here. The last line, without any end objective in sight. So when you are doing something without planning, without any end objective in sight, what does that mean? No planning is involved. So that is why the answer to question is yes. Okay guys, question number 35. Law of effect sets out clear explanations. Now underline sets out clear explanations about the source of new ideas and behavior. Please come back. It's the second last paragraph. Of course, the origin of human innovation demands much further study. In particular, the provenance of the raw material on which the law of effect operates is not as clearly known as that of genetic mutation. Is not as clearly known as that of genetic mutation. Come back. The law of effect sets out clear explanations. What is the word for clear explanations? Focus this. Is not as clearly known. Now in the passage they say is not as clearly known. In the question they say set out clear explanation. In the passage they say not clear. So what is the answer? No. Very good. Question number 36. Many scientists are now turning away from the notion of intelligent design and genius. Now let's read on. Many scientists are now turning away from the notion of intelligent design and genius. So let's read the last three lines. The generation of novel ideas and behaviors may not be entirely random, but constrained by prior success and failures of the current individuals such as Bohr or the predecessors such as Nicholson. The time seemed right for abandoning the naive notions of intelligent design and genius and for scientifically exploring the true. Now this is the last line where you find the last answer. Question number 40. Let's read it again. 36, sorry. They say the time seems right for abandoning the naive notions of intelligent design and genius and for scientifically exploring the true origins of creative behavior. Now, what is the question? Many scientists are now turning away. Turning away means abandoning from the notion of intelligent design and genius. Now, listen, they have mentioned turning away from the notion of intelligent design and genius, but they did not mention anything about many scientists. They did not tell any, or they did not give any information about many scientists. That is why the answer will be not given, because scientists, they didn't mention anything about them. They simply said the time seems right for abandoning the naive notions. But are the researchers abandoning these notions? They didn't tell us anything. So this is going to be not given. Okay guys, now we have questions 37 to 40. And there are two types of summary completion questions. Number one, summary completion, where you select the word from the passage. That is easy. And number two, summary completion, you select a word from the passage, then you match the word with one of these words here, and then you decide what is the synonym of that word. So this takes more time, right? But don't worry, anyways, let's do it together. Questions and answers are in order. In summary completion also, any type of completion question, summary completion, flowchart completion, sentence completion, notes completion, table completion, they are going to be in order. Complete the summary using the list of words. The origins of creative behavior. Origins of creative behavior. Let's see if there is anything where we find the origins of creative behavior. Second last paragraph, origin of human innovation. It's not creative behavior. Okay, if you don't find, listen. If you don't find any hint, don't worry. Let's read it together. The traditional view of scientific discovery is that breakthroughs happen when a single great mind has sudden dash. The traditional view of scientific discovery, we read about it in the beginning somewhere. The traditional view of scientific discovery is that breakthrough happens when a single great mind has sudden dash. So please come to this fourth line. First paragraph, fourth line. Conventional wisdom also places great weight on insight in promoting breakthrough scientific achievement, as if ideas spontaneously pop into someone's head, fully formed and functional. So what is that? As if ideas spontaneously pop into someone's head. When ideas pop, like आपके दिमाग में अचानक एक ख्याल आया. Like, you know, they talk about Newton, apple fell on his head and he came up with the idea. So ideas spontaneously pop into someone's head. Please come back. Sudden. For sudden, they use the word pop into. Okay, so let's go on. Now, sudden and pop into ideas. Option A, invention. Yes or no? No. B, goals. No. C, compromise. D, mistakes. Sudden mistakes? Not at all. E, luck. F, inspiration. Very good. Has sudden inspiration. Great mind has sudden inspiration, and for that they use the word as if ideas spontaneously pop into someone's head. Okay, so the answer is inspiration, option F. Let's go on. Although this can, I'm reading question number 38. Please follow me. Although this can occur, it is not often the case. Advances are more likely to be the result of a longer process. In some cases, this process involves dash, such as Nicholson's theory, okay, about proto-elements. And you know, his theory about proto-elements was wrong. Let's go back. Please come back. It's fourth paragraph. Fourth paragraph, and we are going to read it from fourth line. These successes are, found it? Okay, these successes are all the more noteworthy given the fact that Nicholson was wrong about the presence of proto-elements. Come back. Now we are going to find something for wrong. They say process involves wrong. Yes, option D, mistakes. Very good. Process involves mistakes, or he was wrong. Okay, let's go on. I'm reading question number 39. In others, got it? In others, simple necessity may provoke innovation, as with Westrope's decision. Now, clue word is Westrope. As if Westrope's decision to modify the position of his rising stirrups, there is also often an element of dash. For example, the coincidence of ideas. Element of dash. Element of dash. So stirrups and all that. Please come to fifth last paragraph. Second page, second paragraph. Second page and second paragraph. Plenty of other stories. Got it? Okay. Plenty of other stories how that fresh advances can arise from errors. Yeah. Okay, errors, misadventure, and also pure serendipity, a happy, okay, they've given the meaning of serendipity, PT. That is a happy accident. All right, let's find something for happy accident. For example, in the early 1970s, two employees of the company 3M. All right, let's see. Happy accident. Wow. Happy accident is luck. That's right. So often an element of happy accident, and that is for luck. All right. Just a second, please. Let's read question number 39. There is also often an element of dash. For example, the coincidence of ideas that led to the invention of post-it note. You know post-it note? The sticky notes? Yeah? So it's all about post-it notes. Please come back. We read this question again. Plenty of other stories. Now, the clue word is post-it notes. Other stories that freshen this thing, happy accident, for example, in the early 1970s. Second paragraph, second line. Please follow me. For example, in the early 1970s, two employees of the company 3M each had a problem. Spencer Silver had a product, a glue which was only slightly sticky and no use for it, while his colleague Art Fry was trying to figure out how to affix temporary bookmarks in his hymn book without damaging its pages. So they came up with this idea. Can you see post-it note? So this whole thing, post-it note, was a happy accident. You know what? They had a nail polish, right? And the nail polish was very bad कि जैसे ही आप लगाते थे तो वो उतरना शुरू हो जाती थी. So they came up with this idea कि ये nail polish उन ख़वातीन के लिए जिन्होंने नमाज पढ़नी होती है. They can scratch it and it will be removed. Actually, by default, it was the manufacturing fault in the nail polish that you apply the nail polish. After some time, वो आपके नाखूनों से वैसे ही उतर जाएगी. तो उन्होंने उसको बेचने के लिए they came up with the idea. This nail polish is for those women who offer their prayers regularly. जब मर्जी खुरचेंगे उतर जाएगी. Yeah, and then they sold more. Okay, so with the sticky note, what happened? You know, sticky note देखिए ना, बुक पे लगाते हैं और बुक खराब नहीं होती. So what happened? उसके पास एक ऐसा ग्लू था जो चिपकता नहीं था, राइट? और दूसरे को चाहिए था एक ऐसा नोट जो वक्ती तौर पे आप बुक के साथ चिपका लें, बुक को डैमेज भी ना हो. So that was a happy accident, and for that they use the word luck. Okay, last question. Okay, now we read it from with both the law of natural selection and law of effect. They talked about it in the last paragraph. Okay? With both the law of natural selection and the law of effect, there may be no clear, focus, no clear law of nature, law of effect, no clear dash involved, but merely a process of variation and selection. Last paragraph. The last three paragraphs, they discussed law of effect and law of nature. Okay? Bilkul last line. Please come to last line. The time seems right for abandoning the naive notions of intelligent design and genius and for scientifically exploring the true origins of creative behavior. Let's see if it is. All right, which paragraph is it? Second last paragraph. Excellent, you found it. Listen, please come to third last paragraph and we are going to read it from, let's read it from third last line, just like Darwin. Found it? It's the third last paragraph and third last line, just like Darwin's law of natural selection, the law of effect involves an entirely mechanical process of variation and selection without any end objective in sight. Without any end objective in sight. And for that they say there may be no clear goal. Now what is the word for end objective? What is end objective? End objective is your goal. So goal is option B. So correct answer is B for that. Right? आपने कुछ किया भी नहीं है तो लंबी लंबी सांसें ले रहे हैं आप. हाँ? पक्का? All right.